G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to the patch 1.5 Northern Wind dev server. Now, a couple of things we need to get out of the way. This is the dev server, so all things are
subject to change.
Subject to change. Subject to change.
Subject to change.
You're not going to catch me saying the phrase, subject to change. Ah, fuck. Moving on. We have the Swedish tech tree finally coming to War Thunder in its, not quite completion. But honestly, I don't really mind. We're going to have a talk about that in a little bit, but let's go through the vehicles first. So, starting off, you can see that the general tech tree feels really incomplete, and I'm guessing that's because there are more vehicles that still need to be added that aren't ready. You know what? That's fine. As long as we get a second dev server, I don't really mind. So, let's have a look. J6A, we've seen that one. J6B, the Yacht Falcon, which is basically just a biplane. I'm not really fussed. Don't really care. J11 kind of looks like a Heinkel 123, I think it is. That's cool. Does it get any ordnance? No. Gets 12.7s? Hello. Maybe it's a CR42 knockoff, but yeah, that's kind of cool. There's a bomber, which is also cool, and another bomber, and another bomber. One of these gets a lot of ordnance options, as you can see. What? What? 500 mil a pen. Bro, you're not going to be you're not going to worry about having to pen absolutely anything. That is insane. What the hell? Oh my bloody god. What the fuck? 2.7 kilos of TNT, of explosive, which is equal to 3 kilos of TNT. That's like a KV-2 shell. What the... Alright, the J22A, J22B, very, very lovely. They basically look like these things. It kind of looks like a weird Wildcat. And they're 13.2mm HMGs, so they're not really going to be doing any like amazing damage, but consider it similar to a Wildcat, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. J26, you might be wondering, what is that? And it's a P51. It is a P51. And it looks like it is basically the same. Packard engine. Yep. It's a P51D. You know what? I'm going to enjoy that. Battle rating 4.7, so it's probably like the P51D20 in the Chinese tree. But here is where it gets interesting, because the Swedish are actually pretty crazy when it comes to their jets. So the J28B is a vampire. Yes, it's a vampire. As it stands, it hasn't been given its Swedish camouflage. That's probably work in progress. No big deal. J29D, we already know what that one is. We've had it in the game for a while. I've done a video on it. J29A looks like it comes with a slightly different engine. No, same engine by the looks of it, RM2. But it does get 20mm cannons, which is not exactly amazing. But I'm going to assume it performs the exact same way as the J29D, B, and a couple others, but it has the 20 mils. So that's going to be the interesting bit. They sound like... Yeah, it sounds like the 20 mils from the Hispanos, but slightly faster firing. Okay, that's going to be really interesting to see. And obviously, there's no point testing it in a test flight, because it's completely different to an actual game with server lag and whatnot. Just double checking. Does it have the RB2? Oh, RM2. RM2B, and this one has the RM2 regular. Ah, that's interesting. This is also stock, so I don't want to take that as any salt. It's probably going to be okay. Maybe at the worst, it'll go down to 8.0. Now, here we get the interesting stuff. We have the J29F, which is the J29D with a couple of small changes. It has 20 mils, so it doesn't have the defers. It's 8.7, and it gets air-to-air missiles. The RB-24s, which are basically AIM-9Bs. So, no big deal. It's kind of cool. And it's nice to have a bit of everything. Now, one of the things that I kind of like is having lots of variants of stuff in tech trees. And you can see we have literally J29A all the way through. We have the J29A, JA29B, called J29B. We don't have a C. I don't even think there was a C. There's a D, and then we have an F. So we have lots of different variants, and that's something that I really like. I like having lots of different variants that have quirks. So, for example, this one has air-to-air missiles and an improved engine. This one has 30 mils. This one has 20 mils. Oh, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. But, yeah, this is the only one with 30 mils. I don't think I mind that, to be honest, because this is really hard to use. These are going to be a lot more friendly. I think Gaijin have done it well in terms of premiums. No pay to win here whatsoever, and I really like it. So, on to this bad boy. The J32B Lansen. Fucking, I don't know what it is. It looks like a baguette with wings. Can you see it? It looks kind of like a baguette to me. Just the breadstick looking ass. It actually looks kind of cool. I think I'm going to really enjoy this. And let's see, how far am my Golden Eagles going to get me? Are they going to get me to all the way? Come on. Fuck. Damn it. It's not going to get me to the RB-42s. These look underwhelming. They sit like in pods, kind of like the Zunis, but yeah, they're not really good. Actually, that green probably means that it's going to have good acceleration, because I haven't even unlocked all the upgrades yet, and it'll be able to hit that top speed. You know what? I'm going to give it a test flight. Let's have a quick squiz. It's also got the same cannons as it does on the J29D. So I reckon we're going to be looking at a fairly decent plane, honestly. I reckon it's going to be heaps good. You can see the cockpit's work in progress. It's a two-man plane. It's probably going to be quite heavy, but I don't know. I think I'm going to really like this thing. It feels like a Swift, kind of. I did a test drive earlier. It was stock, granted, but holy mother of God, that acceleration on the ground for 9.0 is really good. That's actually really, really good. Apparently it's based off a Hunter F4 or something similar. Oh, and it's meant to have a radar, from what I'm told. I'm pretty sure that would be true, because it's got a huge nose and it would make sense. But, you know, fuck, this thing's actually kind of nimble. It's a lot more nimble than a Hunter. I think it's going to be better than the Hunter F1, honestly. It kind of feels sort of like a Swift. Yeah, basic stuff. Yeah, oh wow, 700 already. Now, BVV said it was going to be close to a Hunter and close to supersonic, but not quite supersonic, so... Damn. Oh, there we go. 430 mils. And you can see they do a lot of damage, but I don't think I have a lot of ammunition. No, don't have a lot of ammo at all. So you're going to have to be careful. I am also like thinking how this thing is going to perform just by the way it looks. You can see these big wings are looking pretty good, but the acceleration is insane. I'm like turning around, doing maneuvers, and I'm still accelerating pretty decently actually. Ah, I love that. I love that effect. It's really, really nice. Already doing a fair speed. Holy shit. It does lock up a little bit, I will say. But I don't know if I have the boosters, so... Oh. Clip the tail. Oh, back to hangar. I'm honestly quite excited for this, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't add the Draken and the Viggen. I don't really know about the Viggen. I I've heard that the Draken is about the level of like F100D, MiG-19, F4, somewhere around that region, but I don't quite know exactly where it's up to. I do think the Lanson is going to be quite interesting. Oh, how lovely. I don't know where that came from, but you know, whatever. I'll take it. So, moving on to some other nation. Oh, I almost forgot. How did I forget? So, if you want to get your hands on these premiums, I would honestly wait till patch day. Not gonna lie, I don't believe in pre-orders. You're really risking it, especially with digital content in general, where you can't touch or feel something. It's it's not like a car, for example, where you can just go in and see a preliminary model or read some stats and go, oh, this is going to be great. But this thing is fairly interesting. It has its, like, this thing here. Hang on, let me get this little magazine. It's got a 1 second reload or a 1.2 second reload, and that's all good and well. But the ballistics of this are actually they're abysmal. Oh, look at that, little sparkly things. So now that you can, now when a shell hits and doesn't penetrate, you can see the ghost shell even more. Isn't it lovely? So, jokes aside, I don't know how this is going to turn out. It's going to be it's going to be tough to use, something tells me, but it's going to be really strong in the right hands. It's quick, but the penetration is really, really poor. You can see 95 maximum, but you're looking at, average 89, 72-ish mil of pen, and 28 on the high explosive isn't too bad, actually. You know what, let's try it with the HE, shall we? Nice. And it has got that insane fire rate. Look at that. But as soon as you run through that clip, you have to reload the ready rack, and yeah, that's going to be killer. That is what's going to absolutely kill you, because in, for example, the SU-122 at 3.3, you've got at least a chance of reloading this stuff and bouncing shots in between your reload. With this, you haven't got any armor, so it's going to be really, really tough. But it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be quite interesting. I wouldn't pre-order it. If you have, well, can't really go back on that. But I think it's going to be interesting. And it sits at 3.7. Now, the Stridsvagen 103, or the S-Tank, is also kind of interesting. I saw that it has this new shell, this new discarding sabot shell. So it's got standard, standard ammo. Pretty standard. And then this thing, which has more angle but less vertical pen, to the point where if you're coming up against Russians, maybe consider using it, because you see the pen at 60 degrees is actually fairly decent. You'll probably be able to pen most stuff without much of an issue, but at the same time, I don't really know. I don't think I would. I think I would just stick with this one, because it's a bit more of an all-rounder. It seems... Let's see. I don't know. It's about the same. Yeah, it's a side grade, which is nice. I like having side grades in War Thunder, because you get specialization for each situation rather than a one-size-fits-all shell. And I really like that idea. It adds a bit more depth to the game, which is good. And of course, it's got the 105 Hesh, which is... yeah, no, don't bother with it. And 23mm of pen on the high explosive shell, which you should never take because it's high explosive. The interesting thing about the STRV 103 is it literally does not have a horizontal or vertical turret drive. It is controlled entirely by the suspension, which is probably one of the most interesting designs ever in a tank. It's got a pretty neat little auto-loading system, which is also cool. But yeah, you can see the autoloader is... the suspension is extremely janky. And it's, I don't know. Ooh, have a look at the new UI for the tank damage. They updated that, and it looks kind of cool. But as you can see, you know what? Screw it. Let's load the Swedish boy. Ah, there we go. Much better. So yeah, you can see it's quite smooth in third-person view, but as you get to that, it's a bit yuck, to be honest. Apparently they're going to smooth it out, but at the same time, there's no guarantee. I would not buy this tank. Oh, it's kind of cool. I like that shell ejection. Okay, now you should buy it. Nah. Of course, Wow, actually, come to think of it, that was a really quick reload. Come on. There we go. God damn it. Yep, just because this is really, really janky, I would not bother, to be honest. But at the same time, if they fix it, then it might be interesting. Yet, we're just looking at a test drive here, so we're not really getting an indication of anything serious. It's just kind of cool to see the tank do its thing. You've got... Oh, it's sort of hitting the back along the ground. What if I just sit it down? How quick do we go? That's fairly decent. It's not anything great, but apparently this thing... Oh, yuck! What? Oh, Sweden, what are you doing? Oh, that's filthy. Why? That's so cursed. God damn. Why are the machine guns there? God damn it. One of the other neat features about this tank is you can see the driver and... Well, it's driver, gunner, commander, and loader. The commander can, I believe... Or basically, one of them can man the entire tank. Because you've got the ability to drive from 2 ports. And that's kind of interesting. It's also got 2 engines, but they work in tandem in War Thunder. They're treated as one engine. Basically because they decided that under one in real life, you're going to run, but you're going to run with such slow power that you might as well not run it at all. Or you might as well not move at all. And in War Thunder, since you can, repair engines, they decided that it's going to totally immobilize the tank if you get one engine taken out, which I find interesting and I think it's cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. But at the same time, if they do improve this thing, the suspension, the hull aiming, then yeah, maybe go for it. I'd go for it. I'll definitely do a video on it when it comes out, but yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be really, really interesting to see. Anyway, moving on from the Swedes, we have a look at Le France and the AML 90. There was a news article saying that some ISIS guys or Libyan rebels or something attached the AML 90 turret onto a truck and used that. But I don't see a difference, honestly, Chief. I don't see a difference. It's so derpy. It's so cute. Someone make me a plushie and I'll, put it on my bed or something. It's... Oh, no. Oh, no. It's got less armor than the R3. The bloody barrel has more... is considered more armor than the mantlet. God damn. Oh boy, this is going to be awful. This is going to be absolutely terrible. It better have some good gun stats. 320 mil. No. I don't think that... Oh, yuck. 8.7 second reload. It's going to be a scuffed Orbital, honestly. It's going to be a scuffed Orbital. I mean, the Orbital's scuffed as it is, but that's going to be fun. The helicopters, nothing. Aviation, we get the Mirage 3. No, I'm kidding. We don't get anything. I kind of wish we got the Mirage 3, but at the same time, I'm glad that we're getting just a little bit so we can appreciate every vehicle. So, Italians, nada. Absolutely nothing new on this front here. Helicopters, sadly nothing. Apparently, we're going to get helicopters for Italy and Japan next year in the early stages, which is nice to see that they're actually working on that. Some of the Semaventes, the lower tier Italian stuff, gets smoke, which is lovely, but no new vehicles. Moving on to China, we finally have some bloody AA for once, which is nice to see. We're not getting absolutely shafted by having no AA. The M42 is exactly as you would think, the worst SPAA in the entire game, the M42 Duster, and the WZ305 is a ZSU 57-2, except it won't get hull broken. Yes, that's right, it won't get, maybe it will get hull broken actually. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But if it doesn't get hull broken, you'll see me cleaning up leopards in this thing, for sure. I reckon it's going to be great. I reckon it's also going to be painful in certain situations. But having a complement to go with your Type 59, Type 69, stuff like that, I think it's going to be great. It's good to have as well. As for Chinese air, nothing new. And that's fine. Hopefully later we can see some native or somewhat native Chinese designs. It'll be nice so we don't get any copy-paste. As for the weebs, we get nothing new in the air tree. We get some shipperinos though. We've got, where is it? The Isuzu, which is a Chikugo frigate. So it's like a post-war Japanese thing, I think. No, I'm not really sure. It doesn't really matter. It's a weeb ship. And we get the Senpai. The Oni-chan Senpai. Looks good. It's a nice model. Gets 140mm cannons. Lovely stuff. Moving on, we have the Suzuya, which is a Megami class. Big, thick boy. Lovely. And moving on to Britain. Yep, they get some stuff. Yep, just a few DDs. Nothing else here. Nothing special. We get no new helicopters. And the only interesting thing, apart from the Roycat, I don't know. I'm just going to call it the Roycat. And I don't... Oh, God damn it. I can't pronounce things for my life. God damn it. Basically gets... Yeah. APFSDS. Straight out of the box. I reckon this thing's going to be the meta. I reckon it's going to be fantastic. And... that is the same cannon same shell that the automatic gets, which is really, really nice. 8.7 second reload. You can say goodbye to practically everything. I reckon this should be 8.7, to be honest. Fastest vehicle in the game at 130 kilometers per hour. It's going to be great. Another thing I would like to briefly bring up, because I don't have the bloody Golden Eagles to show you. Hang on a second. What is that? Some, T stuff. Anyway, Dorchester. Finally, we get its war kit. It's great because the Challenger 2 never went into battle without the Dorchester. I believe it's Dorchester. Without its war kit, apparently. That's from Koala. So if I got it wrong, it's all Koala's fault. Yep, that's it. So it's finally getting some decent armor, and I believe it's a mix of ERA, NERA, and spaced armor. So you know what? I'm cool with that. That's pretty good. That's good to me. So, the Soviets, nothing in the tank section, nothing in the helicopter section, nothing in the plane section, and nothing in the fleet section, as far as I'm aware. I think it gets a couple of adjustments to a couple of vehicles. Some of them, I think, get night vision devices. Some of them get, I believe the BMP-3 gets Sodema, which is like a thermal sight. Very nice. The T-80U, I believe it gets something. No, it doesn't. That's cool. I don't really think they need anything at the moment. I think they're pretty set. Maybe some jets, and that's about it. Germany gets pay to win, boy. The reason why it's pay to win is have a look at those Bofors cannons, the 18 Flak 28s. And okay, so let's have a look at the hipper. Yeah, doesn't compare. This thing better have a fucking massive reload compared to this thing, otherwise it's actually pay to win. And yeah, I'm not going to be happy. I'm really not going to be happy. It gets almost double the torpedoes. It gets more flak, and honestly, I don't see a reason why this thing shouldn't be 6.0, unless it had an astoundingly long reload. Anyway, we also get the Graf Spee, which is the first of the Deutschland class heavy cruiser, or pocket battleship, or whatever you want to call it. The Graf Spee looks pretty massive, to be honest. We're getting into that area where we're soon going to start to have the big boys. I'm kind of hyped. I'm kind of interested. I think it's going to be great. I don't really have anything interesting to say about it because I know nothing. I know nothing, Jon Snow. The only issue I find is the Prinz Eugen, and that's about it. Aviation, nothing new. Helicopters, well, you'd be surprised, nothing new. The Army, however, gets something kind of interesting that has me, kind of interested. They get a Walker Bulldog. Now, this Walker Bulldog isn't just any Walker Bulldog. Have a look at that smoke. That's kind of cool. It gets Heat FS. Yes, that's right. It gets like a nice Heat FS shell and a nice APDS shell. This is going to be kind of interesting because Germany does not have a light tank at 6.7 at the moment, except for the RU-251. So that technically makes the RU-251 pay to win because it's not available at any other battle rating, and it's the only light tank in that area that can do spotting and scouting, which is something that Germany kind of misses. It doesn't really have light tanks and medium tanks. The only thing I'm interested in, that really perks my interest as such, is does it have a stabilizer? That I'm going to be interested in, and it doesn't. Yep, that's fine. That's pretty cool. So it's going to be basically like a T-92 gun on an M41 chassis. Practically. Obviously, it's not the same, and, that's pretty obvious. Now, I just want to see, does the American Bulldog get the same stuff? No, it doesn't. It does have, I think, the same APDS shot. Yep. But no Heat FS. So, you know what? That's kind of cool. I'm down for that. I'm happy for that. No more RU-251 pay to win. That's kind of cool. I'm happy with that. I still think the RU-251 should be like 7.3 or 7.0. But, it's a good start. So, on to the USA, finally. The last nation we're going to cover. They get the TTS, which just has thermal sights and ERA. It's going to be about as useless as the Rise P, because who the hell uses Heat FS at that tier anyway? M774, M753, or 35, whatever it is. Kind of interesting. But at the same time, I don't really care, to be honest. It's going to suck. It should be like 9.0 or 8.7. Because why not? It's shit. It's like at the same battle rating as the T64A. And whilst they can each one-shot each other, there's really no comparison between the T64A and the TTS. This thing is like vastly superior. It's faster reload, it's got better armor, it's probably even got better mobility. The only thing it doesn't really have is survivability. And at the same time, there's no real survivability in this thing. So, maybe, I don't know, 9.0. Another interesting change is this thing goes to 9.3. Thank God it finally goes to 9.3, where it's not going to bully my poor little Surbasse. But it's fine, because there's going to be L44s to bully it too, which should also be 9.0. Regardless, that's just about it. For the full list of changes, obviously, you're going to want to go onto the link in the description below. Porter DD. Yep, great, standard looking boy. Nothing really interesting here. But, I'm glad that we have a small update this patch, because honestly, I don't really care. I don't really care about the number of vehicles. I just want quality vehicles. And it looks like Gaijin are actually going to do this. I'm fingers crossed, and hopefully I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've been asking for this for about 6 months or a year. And I've been basically saying, what I want is quality over quantity. And it looks like we're going to get that this patch. So I'm all down for this patch, and it's actually got me really excited. Very keen for the J32B, and I will let you know how that is on patch day. I'll let you know if there's another dev server, and maybe, you never know. It could just contain the Draken. Well, anyway, ladies and gents, this video has gone on far too long. So, without further ado, take care, and I'll catch you next time.